first time at our junior vice orientation, but it's not his first time speaking to VFW and auxiliary members. Back in 2003, I asked him, as a young Marine Staff Sergeant, to join us at the VFW National Convention in San Antonio, Texas, where he shared his story with the delegates. Then, in 2005, he once again joined the VFW and auxiliary at National Convention in Salt Lake City, but this time via a video, because by that time he was actively deployed in Iraq. I confess, when this young man that I knew as a young man became deployed to Iraq, I've told him this, he's probably tired of hearing it, that's when I began to worry, and I'm used to worrying about people, but at any rate, I confess I did spend some time worrying while he was deployed, despite the fact that he stayed in touch by email, which helped a little bit, except when he sent me emails saying, oh, we're going out on patrol tomorrow, and then I have to wait a couple days to make sure he made it back the next time. So, with a great deal of happiness and a great deal of relief, I want to introduce you to Matt Leitner for his remarks, and he'll tell his story.
Thank you, Patrice, and I hope everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. When they asked me to come speak today, I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm honored to have the opportunity to come here and share my experience. Right now, I'm a Border Patrol agent. I was down in Texas for 12 years. Where's our Texas at? Where are you at? What part? Huh? Southeast? All right. I was down in McAllen for a while, those 12 years. On the border, right there where you see everything that's going on. Last November, I took a job transfer to Detroit sector here, so I work for the Border Patrol in Detroit sector. Canadians, they're dangerous, right? Hey, yeah, hey. So, as you said, you know, I am a VFW Life member. I was sponsored by the Charlotte, Michigan Post. Any Charlotte here? There you go. All right. I served most of my time in the Marine Corps. Any Marines? Where you at? Raise your hand. All right. So, all the non-Marines, let me apologize in advance for their presence. All right. But no, I want to share some experiences that I had here. Some things that I learned when I was here that I've taken with me my whole life. And the very first one happened. The very first one happened when I first moved here. Within just a couple of days, I made friends with one individual, and he lived in one of the neighboring houses. And you know, I came from, there was 11 of us that came here. We were looking at foster care. We were looking at getting split up all over the state of Michigan if we were even that lucky. Because of our family situation, there was a possibility that we may not have been able to see each other anymore, right? We were going to be sent out by the state. So fortunately, the VFW accepted us here, and you know, as a kid, it's adverse, right? Adverse conditions. I got here, and I thought, wow, you know, yeah, my life sucks, you know, this is bad. And then when I made friends with somebody, I found out that he had witnessed his parents die in a house fire, right? And his brother and his sister, they made it out of the house, but their parents did. And I thought, wow. You know, that kind of puts things into perspective. My situation's not that bad. So that lesson that I learned there was, no matter how bad we think we have it, somebody else could always have it worse, right? Somebody else could always have it worse, so we need to be mindful of that. One of the other things that I've always, am I too close? Yes. One of the other things that I took with me, so you look around, you see the flagpoles, right? Every house has a flagpole. They've got their state flag. I learned loyalty and respect to the United States of America, right? We raised our flag. We took it down. We learned that loyalty and that respect, and that's very important, right? You think about the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm not going to get political, all right? But you know what's going on with the Pledge of Allegiance these days, right? And I think it's important that we teach people to love our country, to respect the flag, to say the Pledge of Allegiance, because if we're not teaching them to pledge their allegiance to the flag of the United States, you know, there may come a day when they're going to be forced to pledge allegiance to somebody else's flag, all right? I, for one, will never allow that to happen, not in my time. And I know the VFW and the people here that support this great organization, I know they're not going to allow that to happen either. All right? So the third and one of the most valuable experiences I got here, so if you look over here, you see that big tree right there, all right? And that house right there is the Texas house. I was living in that house for a little bit, so I'm going to tell you what happened right over there on the other side of that tree, on that grassy spot. So at the time when I was here, they had a program that was called Independent Living. All right, you were a senior in high school, and it was an opportunity for somebody who's going to be going out into the world where they can learn how to budget, a grocery budget, cook your own food, wash your own dishes, right? Do your laundry, right? Because nobody's going to do it for you. Not out in the real world, right? I know one of the previous speakers, she was just talking about how important it is to learn how to finance and things like that. Well, this program was teaching us seniors in high school how to do that. Well, I woke up one morning, I looked at the alarm clock, I was an hour late for school. And I was like, oh no. I jumped in my car, I drove to school, and I sat there missed the first class, so I sat there for 6 hours like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm in so much trouble. Because the National Home, they take it seriously, right? You go to school, you better be in class, and you better not be late. And if you are, the school is going to let the home know that you were late, and there's consequences, right? Maybe you don't get to use the CC. Maybe you're grounded, right? Depending on the severity of it. So I'm sitting here sweating all day like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I said, you know what? Thinking like a teenager, right? Let me go home. Let me find my caseworker, and let me tell him ahead of time. That way, when he finds out, maybe he won't be so mad and I won't get into trouble, right? It's my way out of it. So I'm driving up, and I see him. He's walking up the hill here, and I rolled down my window. I said, Kevin, I want to talk to you real quick. And he waited for me in that grass, and I parked my car, and I got out. I said, Kevin, I don't know what happened. I set my alarm. It went off. I was late for school. I just want to let you know, I'm sorry. I won't let it happen again, but I wanted to tell you before the school let you know. And he looked at me, and he says, well, I guess you'll be a little behind on your studies then. It's not the answer I expected. And I'm sitting there looking at him, and he just had this look on his face like, let me give this a second, because that's a little cerebral bomb he just said in there. Let me wait till it goes off. And then it hit me. I'm responsible for my actions, right? By oversleeping, yeah, he's right. I'll be late, I'll be behind on my studies, but the real lesson here was the choices I make, I have to accept those consequences, or the victories, right? So despite the circumstances where you come from, we do have choices that we can make, and we have to continue to make positive choices. Remember how important that is. So that was a life changer. That was, if some of you watched the TED video, okay, that was my lollipop moment right there that made a big impact. So lastly, before I wrap this up, just tell you a little story. Wilmington, North Carolina. Anybody North Carolina here? Where at? Wilmington? No, Charlotte? Hubert? We say Charlotte up here? No offense. When I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, Charlotte, and they're looking at me like, what? Yeah, so I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was in the Marines at the time, active duty, and we were having a community function there at the VFW post. And I was talking to this veteran on the other side of the table. The meeting was over, and we're just kind of chatting a little bit. And I looked over at the wall, and I saw the aerial picture of the National Home for Children. All right, I don't know if some of your posts have this picture. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You have that aerial picture? I looked over, I said, hey, the National Home. And he goes, you know, we take care of our kids up there. We raise money, we do fish fries, we do fundraisers here at this post, and we send it there because we take care of those children. I'm like, I know. I used to live there. And his face, he was like, what? I've never met anybody from the National Home. Yes, let me, and I told him some of the stories and everything like that, and he was really grateful. So I guess, you know, when you go back to your posts, when you're interacting with other people, thank you for remembering the VFW National Home and everything it does. Thank you for the generous donations. I'm a supporter as well, okay? Every paycheck, some of it goes here. I know that you don't know that, but and I'm not bragging, but I think the continued support is just so very important, right? and ultimately what that boils down to is love, right? We learn love, and I'm not talking about the love between family members. The love it takes to run an organization that can impact so many people's lives, all right? And you're all a part of that. So thank you, and from the bottom of my heart, God bless you, and I hope you enjoy your time here. Thank you. If you want to know about the Border Patrol, come talk to me. I'll let you know.